Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday. Wow, it's Wednesday. Okay, we have some really big updates about the case related to Myka and James Stauffer. And I wanted to talk through some of the information and some of the details that have come out recently in the last few days. Yesterday, I updated you guys about police in Delaware County indicating that there had been a multiple agency investigation into the whereabouts of Huxley, along with other agencies looking at Myka and James Stauffer and the other children. So it was a joint investigation. Apparently, the Department of Child and Family Services is also a part of this. And earlier today, a post was released by the Delaware County Sheriff's Office about Huxley. And there's been some interesting responses by Myka on her YouTube channel. So let's talk through these, and this will be a relatively quick update. On Instagram, the Delaware County Sheriff's Office released this statement, which says the Delaware County Sheriff's Office has received several inquiries regarding the welfare of a local 5-year-old child who was recently given up for adoption. This child is not missing. Our primary concern is for the well-being of this child as well as other children in the household. Our investigation is ongoing and will include contact with all children to ensure their safety. All adoption cases are confidential and must go through a thorough process with specific requirements and safeguards. In private adoptions, there are the same legal requirements that must be adhered to. These include home studies as well as background checks on the adopting parents. In this case, we are confident that the appropriate process is occurring. In addition, both parties are being represented by attorneys to ensure full compliance and the court process. Due to the confidential nature of this case, we will not be releasing any specific information or further comment. So the good news is that they have located Huxley. That's great. However, this does not help squash the fears that this was a private adoption. They basically admitted it. So essentially what they've said is that they've gone through a private adoption. They've used attorneys. They did not mention an agency, which generally means that she has picked the parent that which will go and become the guardian of Huxley. They are using attorneys, which is a good thing. They're not using yesterday I described that in some cases, you can just hand over power of attorney and you don't have to actually go through the courts in order to do that. So at least they are going and using attorneys for this. It sounds as though they have gone through a home study, or at least they're going to be going through a home study as well as background checks. They said they were occurring. So I'm not sure when that process started or if they were still going through that process. We do know that when she made the comment last week that he had found a forever home, the adoption, as far as we know, it has not been finalized. So obviously this is probably still going on and is in process. So the good news is that they have located him and he is not a missing child. That's good. The bad news is that unfortunately these types of adoptions are still legal in the state of Ohio. Private adoption is a way for a parent to place a child with another guardian without using an adoption agency or the government. Unfortunately, in cases like this, even though there are home studies that can be done and background checks that can be done, it doesn't ensure everything will be safe for that new child. Home studies don't have the same bar of safety that it would if you were to go through like the foster care system, which is very stringent and rigorous in regards to who they would allow to adopt the child. With that being said, we can at least assuredly state that he is safe. So that's good. Now, when this type of things happens with a family, obviously the safety of the other children will play a factor, which is why it sounds like they are going to be looking at the family themselves to make sure that the other children are safe. When you have one child being removed from the home, there could be an indication from social workers that there might be issues with other children. What was the reason for the placement? Was it because of what they said related to Huxley, or is there an underlying issue with one of the parents that prevented Huxley from receiving the proper care? The family had the resources in order to maintain his needs. They had the financial resources, they had sought out resources from therapists and from doctors. So theoretically, they had everything that they could use in order to make sure that this adoption was successful. they claimed that multiple things had happened in the home that made it not safe for their other children. If that's true, that could very well be. That sort of contradicts what I've heard from other people that know Huxley personally and said that he doesn't appear to have those types of behaviors. However, you always want to make sure that the other children in the situation are also meeting the same level of care. And if the adoption fails, it's often because of the failure of the parent. So they were either ill-equipped, undereducated, they did this for a savior purpose, they got what they needed out of this, and then they were done. They were able to, there might be some mental health issues going on. Now, multiple people have made this comment, including her friend Brianna, that there was some sort of mental health issue going on here with Myka that could potentially be at play. I'm not here to say whether there is or there isn't. Dr. Todd Grande, actually did a video about Myka and this situation just yesterday on his channel. I will link the video below, but Dr. Grande actually made some really good points about Myka in that she seems to display some characteristics of narcissism. And with narcissism, they have he said, ability to treat people like objects, and like animals and children would be like objects. So they get really excited about the new object, but then when the object loses its excitement factor or the person loses the need for that object, they can easily discard them. So he likened that behavior to narcissism, and that narcissism is likely a contributing factor to this, what we're seeing from Myka. Obviously, he is not diagnosing her. He's only like looking at the totality of her behavior and then looking at his own experience with treating this. And he does a lot of work around educating people about what narcissism is and other disorders. And I think that if you want a better understanding of him, he takes a very scientific approach. He looks at the different behaviors, the different choices she's made, and explains why there could be a mental health issue going on here that caused her to do these things. And one of the other things that he said is, more than anything, it's another wake-up call for YouTube to start discussing about the commoditization of children on the platform. So we shouldn't be allowing narcissists essentially to utilize the platform of, hey, I'm going to go get a shiny new kid out of China for money and for clout and to make cash, right? So unfortunately, he says that narcissism is on the rise. I don't know where he draws those statistics from, but he's also a very, very intelligent doctor. So I will again link that below. I want to show you something else that's going on with Myka as well. So one more thing that I want to show you is I took a look at their social blades, and over the past few days, there hasn't been a humongous loss of subscribers. She's losing anywhere from 1 to 2. Looks like there's one day where she lost 3,000 subscribers. It shows that she's lost 14,000 subscribers since all of this happened. But something more important that we want to look at is the fact that she started deleting videos. So she is deleting and has deleted 5 million, it says 5 million, like net 5 million. But if you look on Tuesday, which was yesterday, she deleted 9.186 million views, or views, which equates to videos, okay? 9.186 million is a lot of views. If you think of it this way, those could have brought her in more than $200,000, more than $300,000, depending on how many CPMs she was getting, not to mention the brand or sponsored deals that she got from that. So she has deleted not only 9.1 there, but another 1.437, which puts her at 10.6 million views that she's deleted, which I'm assuming would relate to Huxley, and we'll get there in a second. The other problem here is that we're still seeing that James's Stauffer garage is in the green. And so he has not lost he's only lost around 3,000 total subscribers. He is still getting decent views on his channel. Oh, and not to mention the video that they uploaded last week about an update on our family, that video has over 4.2 million views. That specific video will probably net the family, if they monetized it, over $25,000 if you look at how Social Blade does statistics. Okay, so they're still raking it in on YouTube on Huxley's name. And then if we look at the Stauffer life, you guys, they completely deleted the channel. So they deleted all of their content. They have lost 12,000 subscribers, but it's not only that, you can't even find it on YouTube anymore. So it is gone. They have removed the entire Stauffer life from YouTube. Now, what videos did she delete off of her personal page, Myka Stauffer? Well, if you look under the playlist Adoption Journey, it appears as though every video is related to Huxley. So every adoption video that she made about Huxley, which was a total of 25 videos, because she kept 2 of the videos and it was a total of 27 that were in this playlist. So she had made 25 videos about Huxley over the course of the 2.5 years, specifically just about their adoption. This would not include additional videos where they clickbaited on the Stauffer life. So the videos from Stauffer life would often give updates about him, shorter ones, and then she would do longer updates on her channel. Either way, she had more than 20 some million views on Mr. Huxley alone. More than that, 33 on the Stauffer life, and there was 11 or 12 million on her channel. So you're looking at like 40 million views that she brought in, which is a lot of money. It's a lot. You're looking at over $1 million that they made. Oh, well over $1 million that they made on Huxley. And that doesn't even count. That's only ad revenue. That doesn't count memberships that they might have on their channel. That doesn't count sponsorships. That doesn't count any endorsements that they had received. That doesn't count any other like GoFundMes or crowdsourcing that she did. So they made a lot of money on this. And one person that I spoke to actually made a really good point. Not only was the way that they did this adoption unusual because it's completely against the rules to disclose personal information about a child that you have not yet adopted online, and agencies will not allow people to do this anymore, but she crowdsourced, and that was also an unusual way, and used a YouTube channel, which is another unusual way. So effectively, not only did she make money on each video that she did about Huxley prior to the adoption, but she also made donations. So in a way, she actually profited off of this child before he was ever in her home, and YouTube and the YouTube community paid for the child. And now that the child has been rehomed, I think this is why the YouTube community is so outraged that you made all of this money, we paid for this adoption for you, and you've given up. We don't know what circumstances led to her leaving or rehoming this child. And I wouldn't say it's a private adoption, but it's still not the same as going through an agency. And it still, in my opinion, should be illegal. First, we know that Huxley is safe. Second, we know that she has deleted everything off of her channel, and everything off Stauffer Life is gone, and her Instagram has now been scrubbed of all photos of Huxley. So there's that aspect that many people really wanted to happen. Moving forward, it's going to be up to the community to decide how they want to move forward. We will continue to track the story and give you updates as we learn from all of you. And as I've learned more and more, the complexity of this story is that 2 things. This story wasn't just about Myka and Huxley. This story was about a lot of different communities. This story impacted the autism community. The story affected adoption communities. It affected international adoption communities. It affected adoptees who have been adopted from China. It's affecting the Chinese government. It's affecting the Chinese world. It's also affecting people that are in the process of potentially going through adoption, because China could effectively cut off adoption given the fact that she's rehomed him. There's a lot of things at play. And then you have the disability community that's outraged. You have moms that are outraged. It's so many different communities that have been connected to this story and feeling really like something unjust has happened. And I think that's why the story became so big. Not to mention, it's brought up this larger conversation about child safety. So really on YouTube. So really what we need to be doing as a community is we need to start thinking about how we use children and whether or not it's fair for parents to exploit children for every single thing that's going on in their life. Is it fair for a vlogging family to put out all of the private moments every single day of their children without any privacy at all? Children will eventually grow up and they will have all of this documented, which will make life difficult for them. Every single thing that they've done in their lives, people will be able to go online and see. Future employers will be able to watch videos of these children in their worst moments. They will be able to watch very personal things that are not appropriate necessarily for the public consumption, but rather for private consumption. So as a society, we need to start asking ourselves, why are we watching these types of shows? Why are we watching these types of situations where other people are using their kids for entertainment? And what's going to happen in the long term for these children? We know what's happened with child actors. We know the trauma that can happen to child actors and what fame can do to child actors at a very young age. I think it would be safe to say that we're going to see probably similar things happen to the children of YouTube as they grow up. And I think as a community, we need to start holding not only the families responsible, but ourselves responsible for enabling this type of behavior and like watching it. We'll continue to do deeper dives into other families, and we'll continue to cover this story. But I want to thank all of you for reaching out, sharing your stories, and being candid and honest with me. I've had some of the most incredible conversations over this week. I've learned so much from so many of you, and I've heard so many of your stories. And I want to thank you for all being capable of sharing those stories. I want to thank all of you for being vulnerable and sharing those things with me. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you all to my new subscribers, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.